Hello, GenRight Nation. I'm Tony Pellegrino, and this is Tech Talk. It is December 10th, and tonight we have a special guest here, Mr. Sergeant Jeep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So he's going to talk about a lot of the subjects that he's heard all of us talking about. He brought a bunch of props, and we're going to look at different things. Before we get to that, I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their day to tune in here and spend the next hour with us. We sure appreciate that. Tech Talk is something that I do live every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Boy, my voice is really going. We're here to talk about our favorite subject, Jeeping, how to drive them, how to build them, work on them, whatever. We love everything about Jeeps. So if you would like to ask a question, simply type it in as a comment, and Jennings can read those back. Please include as much information about what you're asking. If it's a vehicle or an engine or whatever, give us the details so that we can better answer the question. Okay. Let's see, Jennings, who we got watching so far?
Let's see. Richard Peterson says hello to the GenRight gang.
Nice.
Travers Enslow says hello, GenRight Nation. Rick Starr says, hey, Arkansas Rick is here. Excited about tonight's episode with Sergeant Jeep.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Michael Costin says, good evening, GenRight Nation from Fort Myers, Florida. Rich Jadlowski says, hi, Tony and the GenRight team. Derek Wall says, hello, GenRight Nation. Let the lesson begin. Stephen Waterman says, hello, GenRight crew. Happy holidays. Jerome Balky says, hey, Tony and Tommy. Stinky McStinkerton says, good evening, Professor. Two Feather Channel says, hello, Sarge. Randall Walker checking in from Mustang, Oklahoma. JC Cologne says, hey, GenRight family. Sean TJ says, hey, Tony and Jennings, watching from the garage in Simpsonville, Kentucky.
Nice.
Mark Lawrence says, howdy, working in Eureka, NorCal, way up in the Emerald Triangle.
Ooh, that's cold up there right now.
Yeah.
Bobby Cleveland says, hello from Yukon, Oklahoma.
Cool.
Two Feather Channel says, the Jeep Magic Hour has arrived. Sorry, Off-Roading says, hello, GenRight Nation. Let's see, and then we've got Matt McDonough says, hey guys from Norman, Oklahoma. Patrick Vaughn says, hey Tony, Tommy, greetings from San Diego, guys. Craig
what is up?
Says, hello GenRight Nation, this is going to be a good one. Ari Wheels says, hi everyone.
Oh, even Ari's on, nice.
Yeah, he's got a white jail hardtop on order for me. I'm gonna get him.
Jeremy Crumley says hi. Jason Berger says hi. Tony, Jennings,
Nice.
and Tommy. Jarrett Seaford says, what's up, GenRight family? And Paul Yarrow says, hey guys, there's trouble.
Act as if they know me.
Yeah, Jason was the guy that had the orange cage in his JK that was out at Turkey Run.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's from Northern Cal.
Yeah.
More jumping on.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice, okay. I'll remind everybody to subscribe to our GenRight YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so that you get all this good stuff every time we come on. We've had a lot happening around here at GenRight. I've been working on new Terramoto. We've got new products we're working on, so lots of good stuff going on. Today's show, tell us what we're going to talk about.
Well, just religiously watching your show, we get a lot of super technical questions, a lot of maybes, hows, and all this. So I brought a bunch of stuff that I've kind of tuned in and listened to as far as, well, if I bring in this and this, I can kind of clear up some people's, I guess, questions and give them more of a visual of what a lot of things we talk about that we maybe take for granted, that they know what we're talking about with words, but we don't have a picture. So basically, because I've bought thousands of wrecked Jeeps and I've sold a lot of conversion and this and that, I could probably answer a bunch of those questions and bring some visuals to some of these people's questions. And if you don't see it here, keep asking.
Yeah.
Keep asking. Stump the elf. 'Tis the season, Tony.
Mark Lawrence says, huge thanks to Tommy and Tony for getting me that solar yellow windshield frame at Trail Hero.
Yeah, that was cool. That
appreciate you.
worked out great. That worked out great.
Yeah, it did.
Well, Tommy just brought me a carcass of a JL today.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
yep.
yeah, we're going to be using that to develop some more new parts.
And soon I'll be bringing a JT. It won't be a carcass, but I know a guy that will be bringing a JT
parts
in
for
too.
that. Yeah. So, okay, let me see what else we had here, and then we'll get into all that stuff. We just talked about this, that we're working on Terremoto and
That
several
thing is
other
going to be
things.
wild.
It's
That thing is going to be wild.
It's going to be good.
It's wild.
Tommy just got to get a look at it.
Yeah.
How we're making some progress on that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's going to be fun. Today's tech tip. Okay, this is what does bolt check your Jeep mean? Why don't you start to describe this?
I literally stick at the ground and work my way up. I go systematically. I'll go to the axles, lug nuts, steering joints, tie rod ends, jam nuts on your links all the time. Always check those. And don't check them with your hand. Get a crescent on their hand. Because you may not be able to turn them with your hand, but a 2-inch, 5-inch crescent will get them to turn, and they're not tight.
Yes.
So, U-joints on the drive shafts. I just start working my kind of way up inside and going all and making sure you hit all the important things. I'm a big stickler, and I know all the race guys are, of torque checking.
Yes.
Now, what irritates me is using a Sharpie for torque checking.
Yeah.
That's about as worthless as worthless.
Yeah.
Because it can move ever so slightly, and you'll never know it with a marker.
Right.
You can go on Amazon and get actual torque stripe.
Yeah.
And it's like $6 or $7.
Yeah, it's
I
cheap.
get like a green, and I
have
go all
a
over the
little-
place for
I
it.
have a little tube of it right here, just so people can see it.
So what happens with
bring
the
it.
torque stripe is if it loosens up ever so slightly, when it dries, it's like a hardened crackle surface. So when it moves, it actually breaks that piece of torque stripe off like a thin piece of plastic, and you just by a visual you'll know that the torque has been undone.
Here, let's put some on, and we can show everybody.
For sure.
Right?
So here, and you always put it on both parts here.
Can you see?
If it'll come out of here.
Coming.
Yeah, I put a big line
This stuff's
here.
thick.
So yeah, so what that ends up doing is that dries to a hardened, and it doesn't it doesn't dry and flatten out. It stays that size. And when it dries, it flakes off, and you'll see maybe a small remnants of it, but that whole piece will fall off or something like that. Even the slightest little movement, it'll just crack it and fall off. In fact, I'd be willing to bet it's soft right now. By the end of the show, it'll be dry,
Hard enough,
and we can probably show what that is.
Put the little bottle out there so she can focus on that and show
Yeah,
people.
and it's just put torque stripe or torque seal, anything on Amazon, and it comes up. I put this stuff on everything. Boy, you cannot get that dumb thing in the hole, can you? I give up. It's there. Oh, this is right there. But I use this religiously on stuff. And anti-seize. I'm a
This
big...
says torque seal paint. I just did a Google.
Yeah, you can get it. It's cheap. It's not expensive. You can
There's
get it in
some
your favorite
like
color.
In a aluminum tube, like a toothpaste tube.
Yeah,
You know,
mine come in plastic, but yeah. And please, those of you that are in not the Southwest, use anti-seize on everything.
Yeah.
Literally put it on everything. You'll save. You'll save your stress levels.
If you don't have anti-seize, at least grease, like something. Do not put stuff together dry.
Especially when you put a steel bolt in aluminum. Those are two dissimilar metals, and they do not like each other. It's same as stainless to stainless. Yeah, put a dry stainless bolt in a dry stainless part.
No, it's gonna
That's a forever.
seize every time.
That's a forever.
Yeah, it'll be welded together.
Question.
Sure.
David says, hi, we are putting on the aluminum fenders and bumpers right now. I'm transitioning from the poison spider stuff. Will you guys make me the aluminum side rails to replace the rocker crawlers?
Yeah, actually, if you call in, we have those with no holes in them. And you can transfer your hole pattern over so you don't have to drill brand new holes. So you just have to call in to get that. But we have them.
Okay, and Rick Starr asked a question.
Okay.
He says, only JL to TJ truss I found Artec, but they move coil perch back to TJ location. Sucks because you lose free 1.5 inches of stretch from the centered perch on stock JL axle. Need GenRight coil perch design.
I know what he's talking about. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they make that for the average person, just putting them in there and putting them right there. What he wants is more of an off center, so it takes that center line of that axle and moves it for a stretcher, obviously.
Right. Well, once I get into mine, maybe we'll develop something like
I'm
that.
thinking we probably should do something like that. That's going to be a very, very popular swap.
I just saw somebody's making a hub for the JL axles.
Really?
Yeah, like a warm
like a
style
lockable.
hub, yeah.
That's not.
So,
that would be killer.
Yeah, it's a
that
cool
would be
little
killer.
kit with
Yeah.
a brand new stub and everything.
Yeah, that would be killer.
George says, I thought you shouldn't put anti-seize on bolts nuts you were going to torque.
Well, yeah, on stuff you're not going to torque, yeah. Where you're going to put Loctite, you don't put anti-seize, obviously. It's stuff like your bolts that go in for your cross member up in your frame where there could be water sitting or something. Yes, there are some places you don't want to put. Putting bolts through like bushings, like they have those sleeves through like your bushings, your polyurethane bushings. Make sure you have anti-seize through there. Not on the bolts because those are kind of exposed, but like your bolts going through your control arms or whatever, where there's a sleeve of some sort. Down here in the Southwest, we don't use it as much. They don't dry up. But if you've ever tried to get a bolt out of an old leaf spring or an old control arm, it's very, very difficult to get once they've frozen up and you cannot get them out. So yes, areas where you torque is supposed to be a dry torque.
Michael Costin said, Sarge, do you take parts that have been removed but are good? Like my JL Ruby fenders, I installed GenRight fender deletes.
Oh, as far as if I buy them, yes, I do. You have to be local or the shipping would kill the deal. People that sell
they need to be clean. People want
they want to be clean,
stuff.
but I'll tell you the straight truth. People try and sell it to me and they're like, well, on Facebook we're getting this much for it. That's what they're asking. That's not what they're selling. And I'm a business. I'm not. It's not a charity.
Right.
So you've got to give it to me for a price that I can make money.
Or sell it yourself.
Or that's what I tell people. I was like, honestly, you'll get more for it if you just simply sell it than if I buy it from you. So do yourself a favor, sell it if you can, or you just don't want to deal with the Facebook Marketplace crowd. Ask me how
which
I
is
know.
getting like Craigslist.
Woo,
Yeah,
my lord.
There used to be like Jeep classifieds, and there was some good stuff out there.
Yeah, but Facebook Marketplace is taking over.
just-
I can't tell you the last time I even went on Craigslist.
that stuff,
It's just Facebook Marketplace. Just know you're gonna sell, say, $500, and some a-hole's gonna offer you $100. So be prepared for that.
Yeah.
That's like the story of my life. But yes, to answer your question, yes. Certain things I do buy back. Certain things I'll give you just trade and whatever's on the shelf. And sometimes I'll probably tell you some of it's worth the dumpster.
Yeah, and Jennings, can you zoom in on this? I want to remind everybody, if you go to our company tab right here and go to Tech Talk, remember there's downloadable PDFs on here, right here in this section. And one of them is the torque specs. And the torque specs in this chart also tell you dry or with lube. So you can torque the bolt properly. A lot of the time, you don't realize when the bolt's dry, you're not getting the actual torque you need. So, and again, we're not talking about dousing the thing in anti-seize or grease, right? Just something.
Something
so
to keep the corrosion down and it doesn't
Yeah.
seize.
Yeah.
Now,
Trust me, if you ever have to take it apart again yourself, you will be thanking us.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Or I get a Jeep in from Copart and I'm like screaming and cussing at the last person that owned it. Yeah. One question that I have: the wet torque, does Loctite count as wet torque?
It does.
Okay.
It does. So when you use Loctite, once you put it on, you need to torque it. You can't like do a whole bunch of bolts and then come back because it's already setting.
It's already setting. Okay.
So we've had that problem on engines where bolts will fall out in the oil pan because we didn't torque them quick enough.
Yeah, get them on there. Yep.
Yeah.
Have one guy torque putting the
and putting
Loctite
stuff
on, the other guy installing.
Yeah. So.
Michael Campbell said, quick question before I catch a flight to Hartford. 2018 JKUR Recon. How much of the rocker panel needs to be repaired for the guard to mount? Crushed it pretty good on a tree root. Thanks.
Oh, for our guard to mount.
I would say you'd probably have to post a picture or something, see how far it is.
Yeah, I mean, really, you're just trying to get it flat, and you're covering most of it. So if you can just get it to where the thing will sit flat on there, and it's already damaged beat the heck out of it with a hammer.
The only thing I can say is wherever your Rivnut's going to be, that needs to be up
good.
close. But you can use that Rivnut to pull it out a little bit. Don't over pull, but that can help correct that problem.
It will. Yeah.
Jerome Balky said, thanks for the info for the stainless to stainless and needing anti-seize. Didn't realize that would be an issue, but explains so much.
Yeah, and I purposely throw away the stainless nut and I go get a standard zinc, nut.
I don't like people put you'll see companies out there put stainless kits for their bodies and stuff. It's big up north. I'm like, ooh, they've never dealt stainless to stainless then if they're.
It's bad.
Even in the aviation world that I've come in, you absolutely have to use something. You never put it in dry, ever.
Two Feather Channel says the Ram Man makes those locking hubs for JLJT.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I'll check those out. That's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Brad Loker says, what is the recommended torque spec for upper, lower links and steering?
Upper, lower link and steering.
So, for a 9/16 bolt, it's 120 foot-pounds. So.
And another thing, once you're done with your project or what have you, you've done torqued it, go take it around the block, drive it for 500 miles, go beat it up, come back and retorque.
Yeah,
a lot of people fail to retorque part.
It takes like 3 times.
3 cycles.
Especially lug nuts, man. That is a bear.
Yeah.
Jeep TJ6 says Facebook killed Jeep forum traffic. It's a real shame. The classified section there was really good.
Huh.
Smoke One Poke says, Joe from San Diego, I'm just welding up the trusses for my Dana 60 and Sterling 10.5, so I'm gonna hit the real hammers experience with you next year.
Oh,
Broke
nice.
A lot of parts playing this year.
Bring some spares. Bring spares, patience, and some man wipes.
Yeah.
Craig Huffman says, Tommy, do you have any half hardtop truck tops for a TJ?
Truck, that's, no, I don't have any of those. Those are, I forget what company makes those, but it basically makes it look like a scrambler. Yeah, with the bulkhead and stuff.
You see those very often used?
Very, very seldom. And if they come in like on a Jeep on Copart, they're usually on the East Coast and they go for a chunk of change.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
Just get a new one.
Well, for me to buy it doesn't make money sense.
Yeah.
So before we forget,
Yeah.
the part we're going to talk about today.
Oh, yeah.
Cheap part. So I saw this and I thought this was awesome. So it's super cheap, I think, for the hassle. But this license plate bracket goes on your front bumper between the bracket, your D-ring mount on your bumper and your actual D-ring. It just sandwiches right in there. So if you go to the trail and you don't want to just pull it out and throw it in the back with your plate on it.
Yeah, so it doesn't get smashed.
Yeah, it doesn't get smashed. And
then when you get back on the street,
what are they, like $50?
when you're airing up?
$50 is a lot cheaper than dealing with your local law enforcement because you don't have a front plate. So this right here, I'm sure they got plenty more of these because this one is going in the truck with me when I go home.
It was a inexpensive something to talk about.
I think it's
we do have
idea.
our JL aluminum tube fenders on special right now too, but this is a great little
I think this is a stocking stuff for ladies to your dude or your dude to your lady, whoever has the Jeep.
Yep. So.
Sean asked, what is the best way to remove a stripped Rivnut?
So I'll tell my.
Yeah, why don't you tell yours?
Yeah, that's cruddy. I'll drill it out. You're gonna mess up the sheet metal, so I'll drill out as best as I can. And once I get it real thin, instead of keep drilling, I'll take a real fine punch and kind of cave in the sides, and then push it through or get it out or somehow. Yeah. And then you may have to oversize the next one you get in there because you tend to.
Okay, so that was going to be my question: is what's messed up about it? Is it spinning in the sheet metal, or did the threads get damaged? I'll give you an idea. So I have ripped off my fenders before, so it pulled the 1/4-20s out. So all I did was I put a 5/16 18 Rivnut in,
bigger one,
and then I drilled it slightly and put the 1/4-20 back inside the 5/16 18.
Oh, that works too. That's a great
idea.
Yeah.
So that way I was still able to use without drilling out and reuse all the hardware and everything.
For sure. Yeah.
Now, if you have a spinning Rivnut, sometimes what we do is we tack the edges you know, before you start blowing out the sheet metal, and you can get that thing to stay, and you can reuse it. And if you reclamp it, a lot of the times it'll re-smush a little bit and tighten up. So just depending on how bad or what the situation is.
If you're handy with the TIG, that's I mean, that's
it doesn't take
the way
much
to, do it.
to get that tacked in place.
Yeah, just a little tiny bit. Yeah.
TJMT asked, do you have a navigation kit or recommendation for an Ultra 4 car?
Well, the standard in Ultra 4 is like a Lowrance, right? A lot of guys do use lead nav, you know, if they're running a tablet, which has become more popular lately. And then
I've seen a lot more of the tablets in the cars now.
Yeah. Well, they're inexpensive.
They're inexpensive, and they're a lot more versatile than just a nav unit. You can take a tablet and run other things on it while maybe.
Well, you can bring it in the RV and study, and then put it back in the car, right?
Like you don't have to transfer a stick and all that. What they used to do.
So in Terramoto, I have both. I've got a Lowrance and the tablet, and we use it so that one can be zoomed in more than the other. So I can glance over and look like, oh, that turn's coming up or whatever, you know, if my co-driver's busy.
And in an Ultra 4 car, to have both, you have a backup. Because if your Lowrance goes out, then, good luck.
And sometimes those things will just spin, you know, they get all goofed up. And,
yeah.
So it is good to have.
That's a good insurance to run both, actually. If I was in an Ultra 4 car, I would.
Yeah, we always had two. The Lances even.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
So.
Trail Team 7 says hi and asks, is 80 pounds too much for aluminum wheels?
80 pounds?
No, that's not enough. Aluminum wheel? Lug nut?
What are we talking about, the weight or the torque?
I'm assuming he's talking about torque.
Maybe we can specify there.
Yeah, let me.
That's a very heavy aluminum wheel. A normal beadlock's about 45 pounds. But if he's talking about the torque
value?
No, a standard lug nut should be 90 foot-pounds.
90 is, that's light too. That's.
I know a lot of people cheat that up.
Yeah, I would cheat that up before I cheat it down.
Yeah,
for sure.
For sure.
Obviously, steel wheels you torque a little heavier than you do aluminum.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, all caught up.
Wow, we did good. Okay, so let's start talking about some of the stuff you brought.
Okay, let's do that. All right, let's start with, I guess, the transfer cases. We get a lot of this questions on the transfer cases. And real quick, this is a 4-to-1 Rubicon. This is your average 231 TJ-YJ, and this is a 4-to-1 241 out of a TJ. I've had people, I'll give them a price on these, and they're like, oh, I found a 4-to-1 for 400. I found a 241 for like 400 bucks. You're crazy. You want that much money? I'll say, send me a picture. So the biggest way to check a transfer case to make sure it's a 4-to-1 is this piece right here. If you'll notice, this right here is far different than this. That's because this has a much bigger planetary reduction set inside the transfer case. And the JKs are both 241s. One is a 241 rock tracker, what have you, and the other one is just a 241. The normal ones that come in the Saharas and the Sport, those transfer cases aren't worth anything. These are the ones. And if I get a lot of these questions too, the input shaft on the JKs is your most important part to buying the correct one. This big cog gear, if you will, is only for 3/6 automatics. The ones that have an input gear like this on the JKs are all your 3/8, your manuals and automatic transmissions with the 3/8 JKs, and your manual 3/6 manuals will have this style input. The cog gear is only for 3/6 autos. Now, the biggest, I guess, other than that, the difference between the TJ ones, can you run a JK 4-to-1 transfer case in, say, an XJ or a TJ or a YJ with the 23 spline input? Yes, you can. They will go. The only thing you're not going to get that makes them very specific is the VSS. TJ 4-to-1s have the VSS in them. So yes, if you have a desert only, a trailer only, you don't care what speed you are, or you have a GPS speed or something on your dash, these are cheaper. Rubicon TJs were only made from 2003 to 2006.
Because that's for the speedometer.
That's for the speedometer. So there's
Okay.
only 4 years. So that's why you see these. It's a purely supply and demand issue. These are worth far more than these only because there's tons and tons of these out there. I tend to see the ones with the cog gear for the 3.6 autos a little cheaper. I sell these for about $12.50, $14.50 for the normal spline here. This one right here are the ones that kind of catch a bunch of the money. And I get a lot of people saying, well, I can get an Atlas for that. No, no, no. Get all the drop-down menus and actually fill out and select your options for the drop-down menus, and the price changes dramatically. A lot of these, I get in wrecks. So once if it gets hit on the driver's side, the drive shaft collapses and the energy hits here and it just breaks this piece off. So I get these a lot. Like this one I just had rebuilt. Brand new case half rear, brand new case half front, new chain bearing seals. This is one of the ones I just listed. Yes, I have this one for I think $28.50 or something. They think it's close to an Atlas, but they haven't ordered an Atlas in the whole last year.
Yeah.
You're up with shipping and everything and getting to your door. You're about what, $4,000, I think, or something like that. Retails about $4,000.
Yeah.
And some people don't want an Atlas. They don't want. They just simply want to put this one in there.
Right, and plug everything back in. And
Plug
all the
everything
drive
back
shafts
in.
fit.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
everything,
You get your four-wheel drive light. This plug right here just merely tells your dash to plug a light. It's just a plunger switch here. This is your typical 231. You'll have a lot. The spline count means a lot with these versus your YJ or TJ. You want to make sure that the spline count, all 6 cylinders have 23 spline. This would be for an automatic because it's longer. However, the 6 speeds, the 3550s can all use the automatic. The AX15s, you can trim this down and set that in there. You just can't use the real short one with, say, like the transfer in this one because it doesn't have enough spline engagement.
For the seal.
For those, yeah.
And
for
as
the
soon
seal,
as we filled it up, it just poured out.
It'll pour out, yeah. So another thing, people talk about slip yoke eliminator kits. So let me explain that. Where's my piece here? This is what you traditionally have on a TJ and a YJ. This right here is like a cheap way to do it. This is a stock TJ output, and this is what is in this transmission and sticks out here. So this is called a hack and tap. So basically, you hack this off, you tap it, you drill and tap it, and then you put this. So you don't have to spend the money and working on it. It's kind of the cheap way to do it, and they put a flange on it. So when you hear the term hack and tap, you don't change the main shaft or any of this. You just hack it off and tap the hole and put this on there. Traditionally, what you have is this is on a YJ. So in this place, you would have this, and the drive shaft goes in here. So when you hear people talk about the drive shaft falling out and all your fluid, that's only on the YJ because the drive shaft is what seals that shut.
Right.
TJs, you don't have that problem. If you break the drive shaft, you don't lose fluid. Only on the YJs that these break out.
Okay.
But basically what that does, a slip yoke, is traditionally this is on a TJ, this is what you have on a TJ sticking out. So a slip yoke gets rid of that and actually gets a smaller shaft, a main shaft, and you get a yoke on here. So you have a true fixed yoke on here, and that's why I call it. That is the slip yoke eliminator. It eliminates that and puts you a true traditional yoke on the back of it.
Which is what you want.
That is absolutely what you want. Yeah, because once you get a certain angle down on these, it's catastrophic.
Yeah.
And it takes out the yoke, the muffler, it takes out the whole back end. I mean, it's bad. A lot of the kits sell bracket kits or spacers that bring the transmission or the transfer case. That's a cheap way to do it, but this is a much stronger, better way to do it.
Yeah, better, and that those spacer kits also lower your ground clearance right in the middle of the Jeep.
Yes, and your shifter's lower.
Yeah.
Everything's down. So when you go into reverse, sometimes it doesn't go. It creates a lot of problems, and it's only to save a couple bucks.
Right.
Just do it right the first time.
Yes.
And with these, I wanted to show this, Jennings. If this is a piece I got of a transfer case. Remember I was showing you at the shop how incredibly thin these are? So just know that these things, they're not indestructible. Even the 4-to-1s, I don't know if you can show that, zoom in, but that is how incredibly thin that is. That's 1/8 inch maybe. They're just pot aluminum, all this stuff is. But there's not a lot of torque. These things don't like shock load. So the chain will take a bit of torque. This chain right here this is a 241 chain. This is actually a pretty heavy chain. I would say the 231s, this is a 241. The 231 has probably 3 less links. So just know on these Rubicon transfer cases, you're getting more than just the 4-to-1. You're getting a bigger reduction, a bigger planetary, a thicker chain. The whole guts of this thing is bigger.
More gears
There's
in the
more
planetary.
in here than just the 4-to-1.
And I've never seen one of those chains break.
They don't break.
They don't.
So my buddy that owns Anaheim Gear, you may know who he is, Pat. He's been in business forever. He rebuilds and does all my drivetrain work. He says he rarely has to replace these chains. They're rarely ever stretched.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, how often is there a load on the transfer case? Only when you're in 4-wheel drive. Most of the Jeeps around here are in 2-wheel drive going around.
Yeah.
So it's kind of floating. But I don't like flat towing with these. Because I've shown you at the shop what comes in. There's not a load under this front end, so what it does is the chain is kind of just floating in there. Well, it'll get a harmonic sometimes, and it can slap, and if it slaps this and binds up, this thing explodes. And I've shown Tony that one with the airbags actually went off when it exploded, and it blew up the whole side of the floor. Yeah, I do not like flat towing these things.
Yeah.
Do not like flat
Just
towing.
get under there and take the drive shafts out.
Yeah, get under there. This is your typical planetary for a 231. That's right in here. This is the same gear here. This is your typical planetary. Now you'll see the difference in a 4-to-1 planetary. That's how much bigger of a gear set planetary you're getting from a 4-to-1. So that's just kind of talking about the difference between you're getting more out of that. Now switching into ring and pinions, and I know you guys talk about this.
Any questions on transfer cases right now?
Let's see. TJ MT said just priced out an Atlas. Yeah, definitely more than 2,800, 3,500 for a base build for a TJ plus 2-month wait time.
And shipping and tax.
Right.
Matt McDonough asked, what breaks transfer cases, vibration or horsepower?
Shock load. It's shock load. Dumping your clutch, that's considered shock load. Taking a hard hit on the driver's side, that's shock load. Bouncing. That's shock load.
That's
shock
the
load,
worst.
that'll break this, that'll break, that is the worst.
Yeah.
You'll hear us when we go out wheeling, and someone that's somewhat new to our group or someone that's been around, the minute they start bouncing, it's like a choir, everyone at the same time, stop, quit, because we know what's coming next. Shrapnel. Yeah, it's coming out the bottom somewhere.
Michael Costin asks, is there a modular to eliminate the vehicle speed sensor on the computer side?
Of what model Jeep? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why.
The newer the Jeeps get, they're looking for that stuff.
Yeah, you're not gonna do it.
Jeremy Crumbly asks, which one bolts to the 8 horsepower 7090?
8L7. 8L. Is that GM or is that what numbers were those again?
Which one bolts to the 8 HP 7090?
Oh, 8 HP. None of these will. I think that's the one in the JLs and stuff like that. And they have that's a 75. That's a 875. I was gonna bring one. I thought, but that's a completely different. And on those, I'm glad he brought that up. So on the transfer cases in your JLs, your JTs, the 4-to-1s for the 272, the case, you can't tell them apart by looking at them. These, I tell people, just send me a picture, I'll tell you which one. It's obvious.
Right.
The JL JTs, there is no difference in the look. What you have to do is imprinted into the cover right in this circle right here. It's like laser engraved in here, and you have to look for that. There is a difference between autos or manuals, but you have to make sure the bottom row says 4-to-1 and not 272 to 1. That's big on those. And then manual or auto. And you definitely, once you go to a 4-to-1, you have to get the taser, and you have to tell your Jeep that it now has a 4-to-1 in your low range, or it'll make the computer go all kinds of
it'll get stuck
nutty.
in the gear and not do
it does.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, but Jeep's doing a lot of weird stuff right now with the Rubicons. I've seen some with no FAD, which you would think would be all-wheel drive, but then they have part-time transfer cases with no FAD. You have to just look. The best thing, if you're going out for a new one or used, get a part-time transfer case. Just get that. Now, if you're getting a smoking deal on a new one or something like that that has the all-wheel drive unit under here, buy it, get your smoking deal, and just buy the JL 4-to-1s are the cheapest. I see them like $800 to $1,200. Wow. There's just so many of them out there. It's a supply and demand thing. So I have those. And this is what your FAD is. Everyone asked about the FAD. This is what really just locks in. It just goes, I think it's spring loaded, but it has a little lock in it. But this is just what locks your front axle in the JLJT. Yeah, it's just a shift fork.
Yeah.
Has a little connector here. The YJ days, they were vacuum, terrible. But this electronic, these hardly ever go bad. So don't think that if you don't have the money to go with a Curry or something like that, your day's over. This is not the weak point. It's that housing that's part of it. But these rarely ever go bad.
I remember in the YJs, you could push that thing over and put a little hose clamp on there and make it stay.
You make it stay in there, and they had some other stuff with that. There's another one that's kind of like a myth, if you will. I'll put this down.
Craig Huffman asked,
Sure.
what's your opinion on the Dana 300 transfer case?
It depends. For me, it depends on your budget. It depends on what you're going to do with it, and depends on the frame you're going to put it in. If you're going to go CJ, Willys Wagon, Jeepster, they're very compact. Their packaging between narrow frame rails work really, really well. But once you start getting a 4-to-1 gear set for them, they get up there very, very quick.
Yeah.
And then you get, like, I think there's a company, Northwest Fab or something, where you can do a flip kit. By the time you price all that out, you almost get an Atlas.
Yeah.
Because that's what an Atlas is. It's a monster Dana 300.
Yes.
That's what they design those things after. So it just depends on your budget and your packaging. If you have your frame rails are way far apart, and if you're doing driver drop, and you're on the cheap, try and find a 205 or something like that, or one of these. But it also depends on your transmission too. If you're going to put a big V8 in like a 6 or 8 speed, you're not going to want a 4-to-1. It might be a little too high. You might want a 3.0 or a 3.2 case or something like that. So it really just depends. But I mean, Dana 300s that's old school. They're tried and true, but they also, the main shafts do not take shock load very well. So just know they have their limitations. This right here, everyone says on the 6 speeds from the 05 and TJ 6 speeds were only in 05 and 06. They're Mercedes. And then all the way up till 18, the end of the JK. Everyone says the 6 speeds don't have bell housings. Well, they kind of do. This is
The pattern's the same.
Same.
You just got to switch the bell housing.
That's it.
How did you figure that out?
That's a good tip.
Pat from Anaheim Gears, the man, he told me all about it. All you have to do is this hole, there's a plastic plug you have to pull out, and there's a big reverse Torx. You pull that out, $25 plastic plug. You take the JK1 off, take your bell housing from your TJ, put it right on.
Important that you know that's a reverse Torx.
That is a reverse Torx, yeah.
Yeah.
No, not the thread, the actual head of it.
Oh, gotcha.
It's not like a hole, it's a protruding Torx versus a...
I thought you meant you had to take it out reverse.
No.
That would be bad.
Yeah.
You're in there like torquing on the aluminum.
Yeah. So just knowing your 6 speeds, if you find a good deal on a 6 speed, buy it and just put this on there. So that opens up, I mean, it's kind of bad for me because then I can't sell them because you can just go get on a Facebook Marketplace. But the 05s had a reverse issue that by 06 they changed. But if you're in a TJ or an early model JK and you need a 6-speed and someone's selling, say, a 17 or a 16 low miles, pick it up. It's literally these bolts.
Wow.
And you can take a TJ 6-speed and turn it into a late model JK 6-speed.
That's a great tip.
They are the same. A lot of people don't know that. And it's super, super easy. You'll just have to change out if you change them, you have to change out the input shaft inside the deal, which again is just 4 bolts. They slip out and slip another one in, and it's that easy.
Nice.
Okay, so we got that. We'll get in real quick. I know people have asked when they want to go Rubicon axle, we go to wheel spacers, and we've talked about if you have to use them, make sure they're good quality. We don't recommend them, but if you have to. And we always talk about hub-centric.
Yep.
So I brought the difference between hub-centric and not. This is your super cheap Amazon. You can get them both on Amazon. Your wheel. This is actually, I think, a wheel adapter. The difference between a wheel adapter is it adapts one wheel pattern to another. A spacer is simply spacing the wheel with the same
Yeah,
pattern.
so that's like 5 on 4.5 to 5
This
on
one
5.
is YJ to, yeah, so this
Yeah.
is 5 on 4.5 to 5 on 5.5. YJ to CJ or Dodge or early Ford or what have you. So this is a spacer or an adapter. This is non-hub centric. The difference is this piece right here that better centers the tire on the spacer, so you get better bouncing or whatnot. I mean, granted, your acorn lug nut should space
that,
it,
yeah.
but this is a much better. They're usually heavier duty. They're a tad more expensive, but when we're
You
talking
get what you pay for.
you get what you pay
We
for.
talk about that
So
all the
when we
time.
talk about hub centric, we're really talking about this lip that's machined, that comes machined into a wheel spacer and or adapter. My favorite are the who's it makes the axle? Spider.
Yeah, Spider Tracks.
Spider Tracks. They make the blue ones. I like those.
They're nice.
G2 when they
Yeah.
were around, they had some good ones. But just make sure if you have to use these, get the hub centric ones.
Okay, good tip.
Yep. Ring gears. We always talk. Everyone asks about
And
how
any
big.
more questions right now?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
can we move on to the next thing?
My bad.
Jeep TJ said that this is one of the most informative lives in a minute. Great stuff, guys. GenRight's the king of this lane.
Good.
Keep asking the questions. They don't have to be drivetrain. They can be.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a bit. And
Jason
one other.
Berger said, when I flat towed my JK to Jeep Beach, I removed my front drive shaft.
Yep. Yep.
Mr. Rick Stars asked, do you also lose your odometer if you put the JK 4-to-1 transfer case in a TJ?
That is you lose your vehicle speed sensor. That's what VSS stands for, vehicle speed sensor. You lose this. You don't get any feedback from it. Yeah, and the JKs you can't vice versa do them. Well, I guess you could, but you'd be putting a more expensive in. Because JKs, to get their speed sensor, they don't come off here the transmission. They have to have 3 of the 4 ABS units working. So if you go without one, you won't get a light. You go with the other one, you get all kinds of lights and stuff like that. So they're kind of sensitive on that. You have to have 3 out of the 4 working to get your speed. So if your odometer just quits working when your ABS sensors, the wires, next in the JKs, right behind the shock towers is where the connectors are. They couldn't have put those in a shittier spot. Because guess what's right there? Your manifolds, your exhaust manifolds, and
Right.
they get cooked all the time. I don't know why they did that, but they did. Any other questions?
Crumbly asked, does the planetary in the 4-to-1 have all the gears, not ever other like the 231?
It does. It has 6.
Yeah,
instead of
they're
3.
a 6-gear planetary versus a 4-gear planetary. Again, you're getting more than just the gear rating. You're getting a much heavier, better transfer case. Not as good as an Atlas, but a very good option to a bolt-in.
Yeah, an Atlas is a gear drive.
Yeah, gear to
so there's
gear.
no planetary. That's why you can go faster with them and do all
and
that
there's
stuff.
no chain. There's no chain in them.
Right.
The chains tend to be a little more forgiving, and that's why they put them in the less drag and less noise and all that other stuff.
We got a newcomer who says, this is Brighton. That's my dad. What's up, Brighton?
Oh, what's up, buddy?
Oh, he says, love ya.
I love you too, bud. That's awesome. Oh, get me all tear jerking. I love my boy.
Matt McDonough says, my stock 08 X transfer case bolted up to the 8 HP70 8-speed transmission.
Say that again, Jennings. Sorry.
My stock 08X transfer case bolted up to the 8 HP70 8-speed transmission.
8 HP. So that must be. I must not have as much knowledge on that one. I don't know what HP is that. If that's unless that's the JK. If that's the JK 36 Auto, if that's the model number, I'm not 100% on those yet. Then yeah, it would bolt up. I'm not sure on. I know for a fact on the JL ones, they're completely different. They look nothing like this pattern or case housing or anything.
Okay, we're all caught up.
Okay, another thing they asked you on the budget, TJ, was on the 42 RLE, can you do reverse manual valve body? Absolutely not. Those things are, the computer, the ECU is so dependent on those solenoids, those electronic solenoids, you cannot do that. So if you're looking to keep a 4.0 style TJ LJ and you don't want to go with the V8 and Chevy and all that, and you want an automatic, you want the 32. Yes, it doesn't have an overdrive, but if you want it just to bang it around and put Kevlar clutches in it and build it how you did, because Tony asked me about that, and I said, if you want to get some use out of it, don't do the 42 RLE there. You can't do. You have to run them in stock. You can't do anything else. They require all those electronic inputs. Now,
so if you want a 4-speed, could you do a 4L60 or something?
So if you want it, I'm sure there's an adapter for that. What a lot of people do is they take the AW4s out of the XJs to get the overdrive. But I don't know if you can do a reverse. Maybe the XJ guys, those peasants would know. If they'll know that one, but yeah. And if you go out, if you're looking for an LJ or whatever, know that personally my favorite year for the LJ is the 04. That does not have the TCM inside the ECU as the 05 and 06s are.
Yeah, because the newer everything gets, right?
Well, the problem they're having is the ECU in an 05, 06 also has the TCU, the transmission control unit. They're both in one unit, so they get hot and they have a lot of problems. So if you have an 05, 06 LJ or TJ with an automatic, get yourself a spare ECU and have it in there because they have some issues. So if I wanted the 42 RLE and a TJ LJ platform, 03, 04. LJ was only an 04 because 04, and if you need a Rubicon, you're only going to get 05, 06.
Right.
Because 05 and 06 were the only Rubicon years for the LJ. And 04, they did not come out with the Rubicons yet. Getting all kinds of nerdy.
Yeah.
Wait, couple more questions.
What do you got?
IGNA said, what are your thoughts on 42 RLE transmission? 03 TJ, I think my transmission is going out. I'm looking for options. Should I replace it with the same transmission or get something different?
You can only replace it with that transmission to run the computer. It won't run anymore. He said in 03, that's the first year of the 42 RLE. In a TJ platform, they are amazing. I don't sell many of them because they just last forever.
Okay,
if
so is it rebuildable?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
as long as you didn't burn it to the ground and seize it up.
Okay.
You can have it rebuilt. ATS, they sell an expensive one. They're like $3,800. But that's not, they build an awesome transmission.
Yeah.
So if it's a 42 RLE, go to them or find somebody. Don't just go to your corner store training shop. They really need to know that. And make sure that they don't just test the solenoids, that they replace them. And they replace them with Mopar or good ones, not Yahoo, Rock Auto, off-brand.
Yeah, China
because
somewhere.
if those solenoids don't run right, it's going to be hell.
Yeah.
It's going to be a mess. And then most training guys don't know how to diagnose them, and they'll say, it's just a mess. Spend the money. Don't be cheap and get Jose or Billy Bob down the street that's been doing 700 R4s forever.
Right.
Make sure they know these newer transmissions.
Or find a low miles one.
Find a low mile one. I've got them. Or go to ATS and spend money and know that that's going to be a good training.
Okay.
They're good trainings. Now, in a JK platform, because you're adding roughly 1,500 to 1,000 pounds, they're not so good. Because what people do is they don't re-gear. They just put a lift kit in 37s, and that poor automatic is done.
Done, yeah.
But the 42 RLE from the TJs, 03 to 06, is the exact same transmission as the 06 to 11 automatics.
Oh.
Just a different housing, but guts and all are all the same. So another thing, if you're a training savvy guy and you don't want to rebuild it and you find one low mile, you can take all the guts or whatever, or say you go to get yours rebuilt and they say it's toast. You can, if your housing's still good and you find a good core that's a JK 3.8 auto, then you can use those guts.
That's a good option. Yeah.
It is. And there's stuff out there everywhere.
Bobby Cleveland wants to know who eats all the Eggos.
That would be me and Brighton.
He's got his little sugar stash over here.
Oh yeah.
They're sour.
Yeah. When it comes to this, Jesus, they got me. Yeah,
Brian Hawkins says, I'm such a GenRight fanboy that I finally decided to get a 2025 JL Rubicon. Only reason I went Rubicon is because I'm going to do the EXS suspension system just as recommended on your page.
Nice.
The full frame one?
Nice.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's the good stuff. Yeah, yeah.
And I want to speak about that. Based on the new 2025 Rubicons, those axles we're doing in budget. I know you've been saying they're 392 axles. The housings are the same. You can now get, if you get a Rubicon X, you can option those with 488s. That's insane. Now, back 15 years ago,
no options.
We thought it was wild to get 410s in a Rubicon or a 4-cylinder. So with the 2025s, you can option those to get a 488 gear. The 392s only come in 373, and the Recons are 456s. But if you get the Rubicon X, which means painted to match hardtop, painted to match fender flares, and a couple other whistles from the normal, you can get, I went on Jeep, and you can check to have.
So you probably have to order that. That's not the kind of thing the dealer might have.
I have seen that. That's how I figured it out. Is I looked at the sticker on the dealer, and yes. But most dealers, they don't know shit about it.
Right.
Except they're like, what are you talking about? Yeah, it's a Rubicon, duh.
Yeah, right.
They don't know their head from their ass. But you can option that. And if you're going to keep those axles, great. Those Gen 3 axles are heavy. Are they moving around? Are they not heavy?
Yeah, they're heavy.
They're stout. Those are going to be the new swap axles for people that don't want to go the big Curries and stuff like that. So Gen 3, make sure you're getting the Gen 3. And 24 and newer has the full float rear axle. So now you can get a 2025 full float rear axle, 488s with big old brakes.
And lockers and everything.
Lockers and everything.
So that's good.
Jeep's listening.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Matt McDonough says for the Hemi swap crowd, a Ram 8-speed HP 70 will accept a non-Rubicon transfer case.
Okay. It's a 75 that won't because of the spline, I think. So thanks, Matt, on that one. I am about to swap the Gladiator.
Star asked, for the FAD housing, is trussing it enough, or would welding the tube to it be needed as well?
You're already going to be welding mild steel to iron, so you might as well weld that as well. You're going to be doing all that. Just make sure you do it correctly. Get it up to temperature, get a heat blanket, do all the stuff you need to do.
You got to let it cool off really
slowly, stuff like that. I have a thermal gun that I check when I do those.
You lost your audio.
Who did? Tommy or me?
Tom.
Did the battery die?
Did all my running of my mouth?
Maybe.
Oh, it's not blinking.
Here, switch over to mine.
Here.
Oh, I'll take that one.
Yeah. Apparently I was running my mouth way too much. I've been known to do so. And a lot of people ask that, the V8 swaps. Just get a JK. Yeah. Just get a JK. But if you're going to V8 swap a J or a JK, the JK is better to go GM. They don't require so much. So if you're going to, don't do the Hemi, the 5.7, it's a waste of money. They're heavy as hell. They have heating issues where they like to get hot. They're packaging, whatever. So JKs, go GM. If you have a JL, then do Hemi Mopar, because the compatibility is so much better with the JLs that you can do them for cheaper now to do. So JL V8 swap, go Mopar. JK, go GM. And do not do 8 or 10 speeds. You can't tune them, you can't, just don't do it. I know Tony goes against this because he's a 4L80 reverse manual bow body and Terremoto. And if I was building a Terremoto, I would do the same. I built mine for a lot more street use and be able to drive it far. So I went with the 6-speed, the 6L90. There's a 6L80 and a 6L90. The 90 has a huge, huge shaft in that thing. So I went with that bigger one. And you don't have to modify the Elite cross member for the 6-speed. Okay. 8-speed and 10-speed, yes, you do. And you're gonna, I mean, look at
Jerry. And you're making it too thin.
Look at Jerry's issue he's having with that 10-speed. Oh. Yeah. But the 6-speed, they're still more, you can do those without a lot of issues. You get a lot, I slap shift a lot. I'm in and out of mine a lot when I crawl my JK, but know that. Okay, any other questions?
Michael Costin says, we have a customer whose daughter has a 2018 Ram 1500 with the 5.7 Hemi. She asked us about changing her engine out. Do you know if I would have any issues with bolting that into my 2019 JL UR 8-speed?
For the money, I just wouldn't. I wouldn't do it. Go 392, get the 6.4. You're going to have to change some stuff on it anyway. It's not going to be a direct swap, so get one out of a Charger, a Challenger, a Jeep, just another truck. Just don't, if you're going to spend that time and money, don't do a 5.7. Go to 6.4 and do the 392. Yeah. They're plentiful. They're everywhere out there.
Joe Alice asked for an LJ. What is the strongest or best manual transmission?
Manual well, that's going to depend on what motor you're running. I mean, the strongest is going to be an old school 4-speed cast iron case 4-speed. but that only gives you. It depends on your budget. The 6 speeds are all right. If you can get a Tremec 5-speed that'll adapt to a four-wheel drive transfer case, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
That's probably, I mean.
What was the one?
Oh, MV 4500.
4500.
MV 4500. There's those.
Yeah.
Those are going to be awesome.
And they're popular.
They're very popular.
Yeah.
The prices, there was a big.
Doesn't Advanced Adapter sell those brand new?
They do, and you can get those. They used to be super crazy expensive because the 4x4, the Pirate 4x4 days where everyone wanted those.
Yeah.
They are actually, that's a good point. I think I completely missed that. Yes. Those are cast iron. The Dodge ones, I think, have a cast iron top. The Chevys had aluminum.
It has a super low first gear.
Super low first gear. And then the fifth gear is like, I think it's under 1-to-1 or something like that. Something like that is under 1-to-1.
My dad had one in his Dodge. It was great.
My YJ.
Take off in second gear.
Yeah, my YJ has, one of my YJs I have up on the lift has got one of those old school. So yes, that would be the one I would put. But again, depending on your LJ, you're going to have to go, you're going to do something with the electronics because to run it needs that input. If you get a manual LJ, then you could do that. But if you're going auto to manual, you're going to need to gut the whole wiring and get a manual wiring kit to put in it from a manual and then do that.
Yeah.
So just know that
and this is where you start saying, okay, well, why am I keeping the 6-cylinder, right? You just, the plan changes.
Just go V8.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about smog, not to get too political, but very soon there's only like one state, California, that's still trying to fight the federal government on smog. If you're a year out on your build, just wait. Smog is the way of the dinosaur. We're no more smog.
Yeah.
There's a lot coming along the lines of that right now. They're doing so. The only other thing I had was
ring and pinions. Yeah.
So I want to preface these right here. I bet just looking at them, Dale, what do you think comes out of a Dana 30, 35, 44? What just not to pick on you, but which one of these you think is the heavier duty, bigger axle pinion gear? By just looking at them.
Probably the one in the middle.
The middle, okay. Good choice. However, not so much. What do you, that I'll tell you what that one is. Between these two, what do you think was out of the bigger, better axle?
The smaller one.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's your difference, you guys. This one is a Dana 44, Rubicon 44, 4-to-1 pinion. This is a Dana 35 307 pinion. When we talk about you getting a higher gear number, the pinions get numerically smaller, that's the difference. This looks like a much bigger, beefier one. However, that's how much you start getting up in gear ratio, you start losing that tooth contact. And you talk about this almost weekly.
Yeah.
This right here.
Well, does one of these ring gears match that pinion?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, this one right here.
Okay, so if you put it on there, you can see that there's only like 1 or 2 teeth in contact.
Two, yeah, two.
So,
and then you get 513s. If you don't have if you have a Dana 44, I don't care if it's JL or whatever, don't do 538s.
No.
513s is 538s. This thing, the pinion at the outer edge, the diameter is getting really close to your bearing diameter, and it's not a good idea.
And you know, if you're running 40s, you got to be on 538s. So get the bigger axle.
Exactly.
And I'm always a fan of sell your 44 before it's broken.
I tell people that in fact, we were just at Turkey, somebody asked me that. I was like, people are like, well, I'll wait till it breaks. I'm like, don't, then it ain't worth anything.
Right.
Sell it now and use that money to buy. That's a good chunk of change.
That's right.
There's people out there for everything. I sell 44 sets all the time.
Yep.
So this, for some of you old school CJ guys, this is a 331 gear set pinion from an AMC 20. That's how big these things are. They're very close. An AMC 20 has a bigger, heavier ring gear than a 44 does. It's their housings that make them the weak point.
Yeah, that was the weak point.
Yeah, but know that these are relatively same ring gear, but even from a 331 to a 410, that's the difference in gears. It's a lot. So know that.
Javier asks, who makes the best, most reliable OPDA for Jeep Wrangler 2006?
LPDA? Or are you talking about OPDA? Should be OPDA. Oil pickup.
Was it OPDA?
Should be OPDA. Oil.
I think so, yeah.
Oil pickup. Everyone wants the stock ones.
OPDA.
OPDA, yeah, oil pickup. That's the sensor that is ran off the camshaft, where what used to be a distributor is now just a little pickup.
Yeah.
And it sends a signal through there. I try and get original ones if you can. The problem, I don't know if you're talking about the actual sensor or the actual the whole unit inside. Original ones are the best, but the one thing is you got to make sure the play in the center shaft, that little gear that touches the cam in the housing, there's not a lot of play to that, because that's what actually gets those. So crown, I think people have said the crown ones are not bad, the original ones aren't bad, but it's the play that you have that makes the big difference. Obviously, the lowest mile ones, if I could have a brand new crown one or one off a 4.0 that had 40,000 miles, I'm taking the brand new, the used one with 40,000 miles before I take the aftermarket one.
Gotcha.
But it's the play in that gear and that shaft that makes all the difference on those.
Yeah, there's certain things that you want the factory one.
Yeah. But now some of these factory guys, if you even look at the Mopar ones, they're made in China. They're made in Mexico.
I know.
So it's almost the same. It's like a crap shot. Just have one that doesn't have a lot of play. Look at the box when you order it. Look at the quality. Look at the plastic. Look at the casting. If the casting sucks, everything else is going to suck. So there's some telltale signs for that kind of stuff.
Wait, Brian Hawkins says, I want 40s, so I'm going to go Curry. I'm going to go with the Curry axles that Aftershock has. I only got 410 gearing. The GenRight specs on those Curry axles, what 17-inch wheel size should I go with?
Like a 8.5. Yeah, 17 by 8.5. And show them the ring gear difference.
So I want to show ring gear too. We've shown what the 44 is.
Right, the pinion's one thing.
This is like, everyone knows I'm not a tall dude. I'm 5'0". That's a Dana 30. That's what you're putting torque on 40s when people do Dana 30s.
Yeah, or even a 37.
7.
That is
This
pushing
thing
it.
is tiny. This is your 44, much bigger.
And,
we say.
show them
And
the
this-
thickness of the gear. Turn it
Yeah,
sideways.
thickness of the
See,
gear.
you got more meat.
The JL
Right.
ones are really thick on this too.
Yeah,
The
that's good.
JLJTs are thick.
They're learning over time.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it just tears the teeth.
Oh, it tears the teeth out.
Yeah.
The bolts don't have enough input. Well, now this is when you're going to a 30 because you want to run 35s. You want to go to 40s, and we tell you a Dana 60.
Look
this
at
thing
that
right
bad
here.
boy.
That's wild.
Now you got some beef.
And now just the weight of
Yeah,
them.
turn it sideways.
I
Look at
could,
how
I could
thick that
toss
thing
this
is.
one. My
Yeah.
wrist is about to break. So yeah, there's a significant difference when we say don't run a 30. Well, I'll just run it till it breaks.
Yeah. Doesn't that one fit inside
Oh.
it's like, almost all
it
the way
damn near
through.
does.
Yeah.
It damn near does. Quit doing it. And here's my a-hole statement. When you come wheeling with us and you're like, oh, we'll just wait till it breaks, guess who has to fix the crap?
Yeah, or get you off the trail.
Get you off there. It's us
Right,
with the good
right.
stuff. And then our vehicles are the one getting stressed and pulling on. And when someone breaks on the trail, I can't keep my butt out of the middle. How many times someone breaks and Tommy's right in the middle?
I know.
I'm the guy that was raised to help. So I would much rather be around the campfire, drinking with you guys, hanging out, than pulling your POS Dana 30 with 37s with stub shafts and all that. No offense, Glenn. But coming out
Well,
to
even
save,
that one night was a 44 knuckle that busted off
Yeah,
that we had to go out to Spooners.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So
So,
just know and granted, I know everyone doesn't have the budget, but just put the money where it's important.
Yes.
Put the money where it's important.
Yes.
Get all the goofy RGB lighting out of your dash and all that looking cool at the mall. Put it into knuckles and axles and cages. Put it where it means the most. I mean, Dale, my buddy Dale over there, you can't see. I built him a TJ and now we're doing an LJ. His is pretty much a bone stock LJ. But the safest thing, he's super tall, so he needs that protection. So what do we just pick up? A brand new with every single option GenRight full cage, because even in a stock Jeep, my biggest upgrade is a cage and rock sliders, because that's what's gonna save me. Because everyone's like, oh, I don't go wheeling. Yeah, but have you seen the drivers around here when you get T-boned? If you roll over at 30 miles an hour?
I mean, just when I was at your yard, that like most of those happened on the street. The
Yeah, they do,
rollovers.
yeah. And I can tell all day, if the paint is scraped off, it got asphalt, a little bit of dirt. I mean, look what we found at Trail Hero, that guy that rolled that one I showed you out of your guys' cage. 6 rollovers. The cage is still savable. Splice in a piece and the cage is good.
Yeah.
No chance that would have happened in a stock cage.
Right.
No
No
chance in
chance.
hell that would have happened. So that's my bit of parts today.
And you were going to show something over here.
Oh
too.
yeah, Jenny keeps asking about girl shirts. Look at what we got here.
We
got
found a whole bin
a whole bunch of them.
of girl stuff.
Ginger says, try it on.
Oh, they're leggings.
Oh, this will bring
Oh, even better.
this will bring the girls to the yard. Woo, or the boys.
They look good on your legs.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Ginger, stop.
Ginger says, try them on, buddy.
No,
That's what we
Ginger needs to stop. These are leggings.
Yeah,
Now,
we
if
thought,
I
we
was,
thought it was a shirt.
I thought it was a shirt.
There is something else over there, like a sweatshirt or a jacket.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
they're on the website.
See,
so-
ladies?
Yeah.
Or lady boys?
We do
you
have
got
some
'em.
stuff. Yeah.
Michael Pavlik says, I'm picking up a Curry 4460 combo tomorrow. Anything I should look for specifically as they are used?
Used bracketry. Make sure it's tight. Check play on, reach inside the knuckle. That's if they're all together and tightened and all assembled. Take that U-joint and move it around, see if there's any weird
Play.
slop in it.
Yeah.
Look at your U-joint caps.
The backlash on the gears.
Backlash on it. And some people think backlash, there is some movement in there, but just take that yoke and you can feel the very contact. Sometimes engagement, if people don't know how to check the engagement, they'll think it's a lot when it's truly just a little. So that's probably the
There's
best.
supposed to be some there.
Yes.
It's made so that, your differential runs at like 275 degrees.
Yeah.
So there's got to be room for expansion.
Expansion
or it'll
and
just
everything
blow
like
the
that.
bearings right out of that thing.
I would make sure the seller is willing to pop the covers. I won't buy a set of used axles unless I pop those covers. So make
the
sure,
teeth,
if he just doesn't want to pop the covers, it's got to be a damn good deal for me to take that chance.
Yeah.
That's a big gamble.
Yeah.
Pop the covers on those and check your gears.
Yeah, well, even when you look at the oil, like if there's oil in them,
Yeah.
you're going to know what kind of
Black
condition
and
they're
cruddy
in. And look at the bottom of them. If they look like somebody's drug them over rocks for the last few years, then
Yeah.
maybe
or just open them up. I mean, Curry axles can take a hell of a lot of abuse.
Yeah.
And the bottom of them can look like hell and the guts still be good. I mean, any of our Jeeps
Well,
they
yeah.
look
I
like
mean,
hell,
Jennings
but-
has that 44 in her Rubicon, and let me tell you, there isn't a rock out there she hasn't hit.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Unique.
If that guy does not want to open those covers,
That'd be a red flag.
tell him before you go to his house, say, well, are you willing to pop the cover and let me check the gears? If he says no, I'd probably pass on it.
Yeah.
You're just putting in a big gamble.
Yeah.
Daniel Partita says, question, would you ever consider chopping into the tub to get a few more inches of up travel axle tuck in the rear, or not worth it?
Of what model Jeep? That's important.
Yeah.
Because the JKs, there's a lot of body panels that come
Yeah,
in.
on the older YJ TJs, there was a rib there that was pretty common that you would knock that out
Yeah,
to,
get all the
because
way
you're
up
also
there.
trying to get the link separation. So by the time you get the separation, it's right
Close,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. But there is other considerations. You got the cross member back there, so you might be looking at the links, but the two upper control arm mounts are going to be into you just careful because it starts spiraling real quick.
You're cutting the tub for link, the upper link mounts to hit the bottom of the cross member, or are we talking about the wheel arches where you're going to get up in there? So that question needs a little more info.
Yeah,
on it.
and that's the kind of peeling back the onion, right, that I
Yes.
was talking about, because you give yourself more up travel, but now is the tire blowing through everything,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
You really got to check all that
Well,
stuff.
remember that SEMA Jeep, that Scrambler, it looked gorgeous, but then
Yeah.
I pointed out a couple things to you. When you set a custom suspension, you need to set it with the weight on it, because the weight and compressing the suspension down changes your pinion angle.
Yeah.
So make sure before you finally glue all that stuff together, it's been cycled, the weight is in it, you're cycling with weight, with all that stuff, because that 2-3 degrees changes where your bump stops lands on the bump stops.
Yeah,
It
or
changes
not,
everything.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
cycle
And
it.
he said glue, but he means weld.
Yeah.
I knew what he meant.
You know what I mean, yeah. Before you put that Lincoln or Miller
it's
glue
really
on it.
important, and I say that in all of our instructions. You gotta, unless you buy like our Tracer, it's done one way, right?
Yeah,
or the
there's no-
Elite, one
yeah.
way.
And
But-
if you think you're going to undo it and think you're going to do better, you're going to screw it up.
Yeah,
We've seen that.
and-
We're not going to
and,
call out.
You know, you can only
Yeah.
re-weld stuff so many
many
times
times,
before it's
heat
just
cycles.
Yeah, not good.
For sure.
Rick Starr asked two-door JK e-brake cables for the JL to TJ rear axle swap.
Say that one again.
Okay.
Two-door
E-brake
JK with
cables.
JL. I have to stare at one and see what they look like.
If it's that little dog leg thing or not.
They're the same dog leg.
They are?
Because I
Okay.
just did that on my Gladiator when I
Okay.
went to regear it and I yanked it. They should probably work, actually.
Yeah.
They should work.
If
should be
not,
fine.
Low Car makes a kit. You just custom
I
make it.
I think they'll work.
Jeep TJ6 says TJ with D3044 and PSC Big War box. If I do a JL axle swap, will my steering box cross over?
Yeah, well, your steering box is what's on your actual frame rails.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure where you set that front axle, it's somewhat in line or no more than about 5-10 degrees off from where that direct line pushes through the entire cycle of the pitman arm. I mean, you know that more than I do, but.
Tony, any progress on that first Vector build?
Yes. Well, that's
was-
why he dropped off the JL today. That's what we're putting it on first. So
Yep.
we'll
And
have
that's-
some progress over the weekend here. We're working on that over the
I've
weekend.
heard some people talking about that.
Yeah.
That's
It's pretty
Shane
cool.
Smith asked, what is your opinion on Fusion 60 axles?
they're not bad. Fusion 60, they've got their big kingpins, their big heavy duty stuff. I like Fusion stuff. On the West Coast, we build light, fast stuff. And if I want my center of gravity to be real far down, I'm just going to go with the Curry rollback cover. If you want to do it, the only caveat is I can't call Curry and get a 72-inch axle for a TJ.
Right.
I have to buy yours, or
Right.
they just don't. Fusion will build any damn thing you want them to build, so I like that.
Yeah.
I like big wide axles. It keeps
Is that
stuff
the
off the
same
body.
as East Coast gear?
I didn't know. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't want to throw that out there,
Okay.
but there's only 4 axle manufacturers. There's Curry, there's Spicer, there's Dynatrac, and East Coast Gear Supply. Fusion's axles are made through East Coast Gear Supply.
Okay.
And now East Coast Gear Supply and Dynatrac are one.
So
With the big buyout of Yukon that bought all that, they bought all that stuff. However,
they are
Chase-
operating them as two separate businesses. Like
sorta, yeah,
two-
kind of, sorta.
yeah,
Now that
two
Jim's
different
kind of
markets.
completely
Yeah.
out of it, I will say I like Fusion stuff, but and I like Curry. I really like Curry's rollback. You get the center of gravity. I went over that. Chase, that owns or is owner of, was the owner, but still operates East Coast Gear Supply. That guy is a champ. He will sit and talk to you. He'll explain everything to you, and they will build whatever the hell you want to build. So
That's cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, we could go another hour, but it's like 6.
We've already blown over 15
I'm telling
minutes.
you, my mouth doesn't stop. Oh, let's see. Is it?
How did it do? Will it break now?
No,
It's
it's not dry
still
yet.
flexy.
It's dry.
Yeah.
It's still flexy.
Okay.
Oh, well.
All right. We were trying to make a point.
We made a point. Don't use a marker. Use this cheap stuff. Use this. Don't
Yeah,
say
for
you.
$6.
Yeah, no joke.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. We hope your December's going well so far. And it's always a pleasure to have Tommy around. We can talk Jeeps all night. So
Or come to our campfires. It's
Yeah.
Tech Talk at the campfire
Yeah, exactly.
every night. Come on out.
all right. Till next Wednesday, everybody. Have a good week.
See y'all.
We'll see
Thank
you
you.
then.